This presentation is an analytical review of the literature on factors influencing attrition in adult online education and is in partial fulfillment for Memorial University course Education 6610, Research on Computers in the Curriculum. The purpose of this literature review is to present an analysis on the theme of factors influencing attrition in online education. Within the context of this literature review, attrition is characterized as a departure from or delay in successful completion of program requirements. In 2008, there were an estimated 4 million students enrolled in online courses. With the ever-increasing enrollment, the online learning market has been predicted to approach a $50 billion industry by 2014. With the ever-increasing popularity of online courses, corporations, community colleges and universities have embraced the convenience and flexibility of web-based learning. There is ever-increasing concern, however, about high online attrition rates. Some community colleges are reporting dropout rates 20% higher than in conventional instructor-led classrooms. High attrition rates have social, economic and educational consequences, such as institutions receiving less favour from their government regarding retention and enrolment rates, or stakeholders hesitating to invest in distance education. Studies have investigated possible reasons for high attrition rates. Different factors and conceptual models have been put forward to explain or describe the processes. Recent studies indicate that student attrition is a complex phenomenon that results from different causes. Further research is essential to curb the social and economic impact of attrition in order to fully harness the educational potential of web technologies. The 10 sources for this literature review were selected from amongst 40 peer-reviewed educational technology journals. The analysis only includes sources with the words or phrases of attrition, dropout, and online education as part of their title. All studies included research participants. Book and literature reviews and meta-analyses were excluded from this literature review. The publication dates for the studies range from 2001 to 2013. Also, due to the rapidity of technological change, preference was given to more contemporary studies, 7 of which were published within the last 5 years. All studies were located via keyword searches against the databases Education Research Complete, CBCA Education, and the Education Resources Information Center, or via the Google Scholar search engine. Of the 10 studies, 2 studies were based upon American community college students, 5 on American university students, 1 on employees from an American Midwest landscaping company, 1 from the Middle East Technical University in Turkey, and 1 from the Ludwig Maximilians University in Germany. All studies were quantitative in nature and employed inferential statistical techniques for data analysis. Sample sizes varied between 107 and 685 for 9 of the 10 studies. The 10th used randomized samples of 30 students to represent the population, since the data sets to be compared were of different size. 6 studies employed demographic data. 9 studies employed surveys to provide all or at least part of their data. The exception was the German study that endeavored to predict online student dropouts based upon early student participation patterns, which were operationalized. Of the 9 studies that employed surveys, 8 solicited data directly from students. The exception was the study Student Attrition in Mathematics E-Learning, which solicited student data from online instructors. The purpose of 3 studies was to develop models capable of predicting non-persistent students. 2 of the studies were case studies. The analysis of the 10 studies revealed 4 main sub-themes related to factors influencing attrition rates. These were student demographic data, student support, hours enrolled, and motivation. Demographic data of online students are different from traditional instructor-led classroom students. 6 of the 10 studies featured various combinations of student demographic data. Results in this regard were, for the most part, not conclusive. This was borne out by the study by Choi and Park and Aragon and Johnson, which found no statistically significant differences. 2 studies elected not to employ demographics due to the lack of consensus in the literature about the impact of demographics on student persistence in online courses. The majority of students enrolled in online courses are typically older, work either full or part-time, and are more likely to have families than students enrolled in traditional face-to-face courses. According to Holder, prior literature indicates that positive support from family, friends, employers and colleagues is typically more important for online students to succeed. However, results for support were not consistent. 2 studies investigated aspects of both support from work and family on persistence in online education. One concluded that non-persistent students showed statistically significant differences in their perception of family and organizational support. The other study found no significant relationship between course completion and support from family and work. The German study by Neubauer and Nister quantified online participation patterns in order to find a method of predicting non-persistent students based upon early student participation patterns. However, this study did not attempt to measure support. It simply recommended support-based interventions based upon participation patterns that, statistically speaking, indicate a student is likely to withdraw. Three studies investigate the effect of the number of student credit hours on course completion. The Aragon and Johnson study investigated whether hours enrolled, in addition to age, ethnicity, financial aid eligibility, academic readiness, grade point average, and self-directed learning readiness, affected course completion. This analysis revealed a moderate difference in hours enrolled, a low positive correlation for grade point average, and a low negative correlation for gender between those that completed and those who did not. Other dimensions indicated no significant difference. The study by Choi and Park found hours enrolled had no significant effect on student persistence, but found significant differences in students' perception of family and organizational support, and the motivational factors of satisfaction and relevance. The study by Finnegan, Morris, and Wu was able to predict students' completion or withdrawal with an accuracy of 62.8%. It concluded that after high school GPA and SAT mathematics scores, hours enrolled was the third most important factor in predicting student attrition. The internal factor of motivation was investigated in 3 of the 10 studies. The study by Choi and Park investigated the effect of motivation along with external factors and demographics. Motivation was gauged in terms of satisfaction and relevance using Keller's Instructional Materials Motivation Survey. The study concluded that dropouts showed statistically significant differences in the motivational factors of satisfaction and relevance, in addition to their perception of family and organizational support. The study by Dubois, Farley, and Long, which measured motivation using a 4-item scale adapted from Noe and Schmidt, was inconclusive. The Boise State University evaluative case study by Cheong focused on iteratively making instructional materials more interesting and relevant in order to increase student confidence, satisfaction, and motivation. Motivational appeal of instructional materials was based on Keller's attention, relevance, confidence, satisfaction model. As such, the dropout rate for first-time online adult learners was reduced from 44 to 15% over a 3-year period. Demographics played a significant role in 6 of the 10 studies. To make comparisons between these studies was problematic, as the only demographic variables common to all were age and gender, and there was little coherence between their results aside from the fact that demographics do not seem to play a significant role. One study found a moderate difference in hours enrolled, a low positive correlation for grade point average, and a low negative correlation for gender between those that completed and those that did not. The study by Choi and Park revealed that dropouts showed significantly significant differences in their perception of family and organizational support, and the motivational factors of satisfaction and relevance. The 14-month case study carried out by an American Midwest landscaping company found no significant differences between persistent and non-persistent students. The study by Finnegan, Morris, and Wu, due to the limited number of males in the study, was unable to draw a statistically valid conclusion for males. The Turkish study found location to be the only determinant of non-persistence. The study by Hepping, Hunter, and Hillegard concluded that extracurricular circumstances account for online attrition. Thus, in summary, there was little coherence between these results aside from the fact that demographic data does not seem to play a significant role. One possible reason for the heavy reliance on demographic data in these studies may be its relative availability. All other data were obtained through surveys. The implications of these studies are manifold. Studies such as those done by Choi and Park and Choi, Kim, and Lee highlight the importance of adult learners receiving organizational support and bring to focus the need for student-centered interactive web design, learning activities to improve and self-regulate student learning, and the need for instruction that has a practical purpose. Online courses should be designed in ways to allow adult learners to apply their learning to their real lives. The Turkish study emphasized the need for institutions to reduce or eliminate student commitments which cannot be carried out online, and the need to consider product-based means of assessment. Most studies indicated the need for students' entry characteristics to be assessed prior to course commencement in order to better address students' weaknesses and identify at-risk students. In this way, counselors and/or faculty can intervene. These studies show that there exists the tendency for at-risk students to gravitate towards online courses in the hope that they will persevere in a different learning environment. There are a number of limitations to these studies. The preponderance of these studies employed variables that showed no significant effect on attrition rates. This was particularly true of demographics. The majority of studies employed an excessive number of variables with no apparent consideration of such changes as confounding and/or adequate sample size. The studies that showed the most significant results were studies such as student attrition in mathematics e-learning, which employed student attrition as a sole measure of student satisfaction and course viability. Another concern with these studies is that these studies cut across companies, universities, and community colleges, and countries such as Germany, Korea, United States, and Turkey. As such, one must